What makes somebody a legitimate black belt? Most would say you need to accomplish the Holy Trinity: hours of practice, completely understanding Jitsu, and competition. Now I have hundreds of hours of practicing Jitsu and understanding the sport, but the last time I competed was 13 years ago as a white belt, so I recently made a return to the competition scene to see if I could pull it off as a black belt. For this first round, I'm going up against another black belt, Josue. He has 11 wins in his competitive career, so definitely more than I have at this point. My game plan for the tournament is to use my wrestling and just get comfortable doing competition. But since he pulls guard, I'm not able to get my takedown points. However, I am able to pass his guard by switching my hip as he tried to rotate me towards his left side. With us being only 30 seconds into the round and already passing guard, I'm feeling pretty solid at this point. I get my 2 points for passing, but I have to bring up the Naga rule set. Basically every position is 2 points. If I get on top, if I pass, I take the back, all of them are weighted the same. You also get 1 point for near submissions, even if you basically just touch the foot. So pretty much if you advance a position, you get 2 points, and if you attack, you get 1. It's a strange rule set, but it prioritizes action. And I'm looking for action right now as he's giving me his back, and I'm able to throw in just 1 foot over his hip line. As I'm trying to pry my foot in, he's keeping his hips low to the mat. This makes it so his butt can cover my second foot from coming in and stopping me from getting points. So I start rotating him the other way, trying to straighten his back, but he's doing a good job pinning it to the floor. I do have to say that if you have the confidence to have your ugly mug on your own rash guard, you better have the same confidence to take somebody's back. In order to counter his hip being low to the floor, I get on my shoulder so I can create enough leverage to pull him over the other side and throw in the second hook to get 2 more points for back control. Then when we finally settle on the position, we get reset by the ref. Everyone talks a big game about how powerful back control is, and I'm trying to use the straight jacket to set up a rear naked choke, an armbar, or some other attack. But he's hanging onto my hand for dear life as if he's stuck in the woods with me instead of with a bear. Since he controls my arm, I try and go to half back, which is only keeping 1 hook in so I can look for twister setups, but he gets to his hip fast enough that I have to bail on the position to maintain top control. I don't want to lose my spot, so I go to inmate control. That's controlling the wrist and attacking the top of his neck. It's a great way to pin somebody down and treat them like your celly. However, I lose my chest to back positioning as he turns to his side, so I'm close to losing it and I have to rotate him back towards the mat, throwing in my hooks again. Josue continues to pin his shoulders to the mat and he tries to push my foot out, but I'm the Trojan horse and I'm already inside his base. All I need to do from here is keep trying to control the arm so I can set up a submission. But my Achilles heel is when I let him regain control over my choking arm. Things get worse for me because once he has control over my hands, he next is able to clear my bottom hook and turn out. I try and roll him, but I can't. However, I am able to stop his shot with a nicely timed sprawl. We hand fight for a while and then do the standard Jitsu mating call of really bad wrestling by basically just pushing each other. I try and make an angle so I can work a bylock, but the ref gets in the way and I have to readjust trying to work to the middle of the ring. While I definitely know I can do a better performance and you've seen other videos how I'm really active in the wrestling, I have to admit it's a lot different in competition, especially when you haven't done it in so many years. So thankfully he takes the initiative for both of us by trying to pull guard once again. Although I don't prefer full guard because it's definitely the most boring position and it leaves me with little offensive options, I do a good job of constantly basing and using thumb posts on the inside of his armpits. My main objective here is until Josue is able to open his guard, I need to play more defensively as I'm leading this charge, but not by too many points. In a standard rule set by IBJJF, I'd be up 7-0 and have a lot more leniency in how I could play, but I just don't have that choice when it's only 4-0. In order to get some movement going, he opens his guard and I look for the same pass, but he's able to keep his foot on the inside and it puts me in a passing/camping position. My head game is stronger than most women, so as long as I can keep it pinned against his chin, it's tough for him to try and elevate me or flip me to one side. With not much time left on the clock, he's got to go for broke. My camping's making it difficult for him, so he tries rotating me to the other side and attacks with the Kimura. I left my leg free, however, and this is a terrible spot for me because the leg ups are my worst game to defend. He starts rotating in and flips me over, so I go for back control, but he keeps strong control over my foot and he's going for a quick toe hold. But my saving grace is he has no control over my hips and I start to turn out with the attack. He's going full throttle for this submission and summons the power of Satan himself to try and rip my knee apart, but he runs out of time and I win the match 4-1, keeping my knee fully intact. It definitely wasn't my best match, but not bad for 13 years retired, and I move on to the finals. I was definitely tired after the round, but I still had something important to say after the match.
But if you want strong competition success, make sure you get gear from xmartial.com with promo code Tyler10.
For real, if you want some great looking gear, go to xmartial.com and pick out their rash guards. You can even make a custom one like me if you want something completely hideous to wear around to your gym, and you can win even more competitions. For my next match, I was going up against Emmanuel, who was on the left, who won in overtime with a knee bar. Now, Emmanuel has less wins than Jose, but all his wins came by submission, so I knew he was a submission hunter. But the bad news for Emmanuel is that I was starting to feel more comfortable as my ring rust was wearing off. And I took that confidence to do a quick single leg to drive him down into side control right off the bat.
That was too easy.
It's great that I was able to start the match off with a nice 2-0 lead, but the ref wasn't going to give me any more points for side control until I could flatten him out. So I was running around his guard, trying to lower my head to get to his hip line, but his legs were in my way. Eventually I was able to get chest to chest, but this still wasn't good enough to get 2 more points. I was pretty comfortable here starting to work until I looked up at the scorecard. The ref was really hanging on to those points, so when I realized that, I started spinning again so I can completely smash him, going down to north-south control, then taking opposite side control. With the points added to my score, I was now working on a Kimura, but he was turning into me. I used this advantage to instead go to knee mount and sucker 2 more points out of the referee. Not a bad way to start the round, only being a minute into it. Again, I was looking for some more points, so I was going to do the same idea of going to mount, but he pushed me off and I went right into the front headlock, locking up onto a guillotine. With the front head locked up, I just fell on my back and was hoping to get to mount. However, his height was making it difficult for me to lock my legs around him to get on top. The referee ended up giving me 1 point for the submission attempt, but nothing for the takedown from that scenario. Being close to the edge of the mat, the referee restarted us in the middle, and I felt like Darth Vader with the amount of chest pressure I could deliver to him. And generally, being so flat is a great passing position, but I could hear his coach telling him to get onto his side, which gave me an easy entry into the body lock. Now I could show off the same head game you saw earlier with me against host Sway, and he fell right into my trap. Some key passing advice with the body lock is I actually like to keep my head on the same side and then I can tripod up. Then from this position I try and take my free leg and I use the instep to pry his legs open. I'm trying to free my right leg because it's the power and I can start to slide through once I have an opening created from the body lock and my own instep.
Pass. Good.
It may look too easy, but it's actually quite a process to free your other leg by prying. But the nice thing is where if I keep my head on the same side, I can push against his chin to create enough space to go straight into side control as we see here. Once my opponent let go of the space in between my neck and his face, I was finally able to get my 2 points for side control and had a sizable lead. It's at this point when I was up by so many points, I really should have pushed the pressure to try and go for a submission. But my wrestling game plan was working just too well for me, and if I'm giving my honest thoughts, after being out of competition for so many years, I had a lot of nerves going into this and I really just wanted to get the gold medal. I tried to go to knee mount to get 2 more points to make it 11-0, but the referee didn't see my knee was off the mat, and when I spun to the other side hoping I could get something done, he was able to turn out and we returned to guard. Now Emmanuel is a game competitor, but being down 9-0 is a really tough way to try and come back to win a match. And if I'm being completely honest, I knew I was up so many points that I just had to play a safe game by keeping my thumb post inside his armpits and having strong guard control. There are no offensive moves I can do when I'm inside his guard, but I also know he cannot beat me if he's not going to open his guard. He did take some opportunities to open his guard when he had wrist control to look for a submission, but the second I escaped it, he went right back to closing his guard so I didn't have to worry again. The time was ticking, he was throwing up triangles, going for guillotines, and all I had to do from here was play defense and not make this a scrambling match. The ref came in and I finally had my victory in the black belt division. I definitely could have done better and won 4 more submissions, but overall I'm really happy to have won after 13 years, and I even have myself a pretty Naga belt. Now I only have one more thing to say.
Just won the night competition, and the only way I had fuel was because Transparent Labs. Get yourself some supplements at a discount with the best ingredients possible.
Let me know in the comments below if I should do more competitions.